Today's video doesn't really have a topic. Today's video is just for me to chat about the journey of being a musician, and just off the top of my head, I've, the one thing that's really interesting about being a musician, an artist, um, at this time is that, like, compared to, let's say, like when I first started it 20 years ago, it feels like there's this amazing amount of information. They're amazing having YouTube. Like, the second time I've started up, I've not needed. Well, it's not the second time. It's actually the third time I've kind of launched back into it. But anyway, there's this. You basically don't need management. You don't need a team because you have YouTube. Every artist from every region, there's an artist somewhere in every region that has a YouTube, like good YouTube, and they're sharing everything they know, and it's really good quality stuff. It's great stuff, and you can tell who's real. I haven't encountered anybody I thought was BSing anyone. So that's incredible. The only thing is, like, now that I don't have like bodies around me, like my manager to go out on the road with and whatnot, it's a little more lonely. But I am a family man now, so I guess I have that. I don't really know, but as far as like just being a musician, it's a positive. Like, it's definitely awesome. It sucks that things have inflated, prices have inflated, and our pay has gone up very little. So, but I'm following like some great YouTube stuff and getting great information, and it's worked. I've launched back into playing again, gigging again, after a couple of years of no playing, after having a son and having a really rough couple of years. But now I've pulled it together and launched back into it, and I've got started. So that's one thing I would talk about. The other thing is mental health. Tomorrow I have my first appointment with a psychiatrist for the first time in my life. I don't think I've ever seen a psychiatrist. I gotta ask my mom about that. If I ever saw, I think I saw one when I was a kid or something, but I've never been like diagnosed officially with anything, whether it be ADHD or depression or OCD or bipolar or anything, like any of these like mental illnesses. It's possible that I have a mental illness, and that's kind of an interesting thing to look at as a musician. I mean, I don't know, like the lifestyle is bad for health and mental health, and but it kind of like makes sense that people with something kind of screwy somewhere, like, are probably going to end up an artist. It's an interesting thing, because initially what gets you into art is needing an outlet, is something traumatic happened or whatever, your pain, and then you actually learn to heal, and then you keep going for different reasons. So it's an interesting thing. It's kind of confusing to look at, like, mental health and stuff. But anyway, tomorrow I have my first appointment, and I'm not sure how that's going to go. I mean, I really don't know. I have no idea. Like, I feel like I'm a little worried. Like, I'm kind of against it. I like don't really want to go see a drug pusher. Somebody's just going to put me on stuff. Like, I don't really need that. But at the same time, I'm humble enough to realize that, like, I don't actually, my mind can't figure out my mind, to some extent. I've done the most I can, and I've been, I've done a lot of work and tried to be as responsible for things as I can. I have a lot of worries, but then again, that's probably why I need medication, is because I worry so much, but I'm really working on that on a spiritual level, but I don't know how things work on like a medication level and stuff. But anyway, that's another thing. The other is, like, it's a tough go. It is a tough go. Like, I'm a musician that kind of like, I was too passive. Like, I could see my failures. I could see that it's hard to even identify things as failures because like I just really did the best I could with what I had. I don't know if I'm making excuses, but like I changed my mind too much probably. Or at least I got a little taste of something. Like I put out an album and I experienced that and went around and spread that music, and I never really built on that beyond, I kind of like changed directions, and man, it's frustrating to think about it. It's kind of sad. Like it's something that I was watching a video last night, the 7 stages of being a musician. I forget his name. I subscribed to his channel, but it was a good video, and I can see that like more or less I'm on stage 7. Like I did hit a ceiling. I did, and I'm more or less like at stage 7. I'm kind of free because of AI. Because like he explains how like your creative, mind is like melting. At some point you kind of like you have like spent your ideas, but the thing is like a lot of my creative ideas are just sitting there. So I'm pretty much getting ready to hopefully get a second chance at this, thanks to AI, a little help from like a co-writer, because I've proven like through my life that I'm not going to move to Nashville. I'm not going to go and immerse myself in some different world. I'm not very open. I'm way too much of a homebody to make a drastic change like that. So, my hope is that I get a second chance. There is other ideas I have that like kind of related to music, but like outside of music. Ultimately, like being a musician is being an entrepreneur, and you can easily get mixed up in like the artist. Like basically, I think of it as a committee inside myself. I'm everything that I look at, I got to look at through the lens of being, 1, the artist, 2, the like manager or the like business side, the businessman, the entrepreneur, the booking rep, everything to do with like, I just put a bunch into one category, but that's kind of one category. 3 is the person, that's just who I am as a living, breathing person. And I've added a 4th, since I became a Christian again. It's through the lens of like God's kingdom, like my responsibility as a Christian. So it's almost like the pastor of the business, So there's the pastor, the artist, the businessman, and the person. And I try to look at everything through those 4 lenses. It's like a committee, and anything I analyze, I try to like analyze through, because it's easy to get caught into one, looking at things through as an artist, and that like everything is important. Nothing should be disregarded, but it's easy to get too far into business or too far into artists, and you've forgotten the business side, or you're like taking a stand, as a Christian, but then you've forgotten like the person or whatever. Like you gotta, it has to do with balance. And for me, that's kind of how I operate. So, that's just a few thoughts. I don't really have much, like I said, I didn't really have a subject today's video. I'm just trying to like make videos every week as a habit. And, I just thought I'd come on here and talk a little bit. So that's that. See you on the next one.